Welcome to the Talking Diaries podcast featuring Dr. Louis Koster with John Kremer.
You said that in the awareness of being, there's no language that defines me. In the awareness of being, there's no language that shapes the experience of life. Could you comment on that a little bit?
Yeah. So I realize that this is a little bit of a play of semantics, so to speak. So language, by definition, as we know it, is the written, the spoken language, and by its very nature, it creates a perceived reality of an observer and the observed. So the language of being, and that is a play on a concept, so to speak. There would be, where there is no language, that would give you a perceived or like a false sense of what you are. Like in being, there is silence. There is no language. So, but then I would use language more in how it would express itself in the world. So that would be, and actually, I've never thought about it, except for now in this conversation, that the language of being would be where being translates into action. So it would be in kindness, in togetherness, in love. So that would be the expression of being yourself and being connected to your true nature.
I love what you just said, in that the language of being is action.
Yes.
I think that's an interesting way to look at it because, so many people, when they think of someone who's wise and enlightened or whatever, they think of them as just sort of sitting and doing nothing. And the
Yeah.
reality is that the language of being is in action.
Yeah. I find it a very inspiring, well, understanding or way of holding language in relationship to being, which in fact would be a contradictio in terminis, but in this sense, it would make sense.
Well, I like the idea because we normally think of, again, the whole idea of, you know, you're in being or whatever, and you're just zoned out. You're just not doing anything. And, well, and yet the expression of who you are, your real self, can only come about, uh, at least for other people. So, in terms of communication, in your action.
Yeah, it's actually very profound what you just said. So while you were talking, it came to me that you could say that language is actually, or that is that which connect. And so the true connection will be found in action. I mean, that is reality. That is where we have a common reality. So you could say indeed that the language of being is that you find that in results, not in action, because action is the description of a doer, but in results. And what is interesting, if I look at myself, the more I am dwelling in this place of inquiry of what it is to be real or what it is to be connected to my own being, the less comes out of my mouth, so to speak, and the more result oriented I am. There's not a lot of story there. It's like someone asks me something and I say it's done. It's very interesting.
I like
So
that
yeah, the language.
distinction between action and results, uh, because if we just focus on action, most of us are thinking, "Oh, well, I got to think." in order to act, I have to do this thinking and then do this action and so on. But when you're in the connected to who you truly are, the results just come. It's you don't really think about the action. You just do the results, or some way of expressing that.
This is very interesting. We are very much, so to speak, action oriented, but in fact, we are describing the process of doing something. And that is very much in keeping with the illusion of being a person, as if doing something makes a difference or is reality. Well, there is no such thing as a doer. That is an idea. What is real, though, is when you have produced a result. And so that's what I notice in myself, is that I'm less talking about myself doing something, but more about a communication of that something has been done. Which is extremely interesting to see that evolution in myself. And yeah, so thank you for the way that you brought this to conversation, because it's very insightful.
I hadn't planned to talk about the distinction between results and action. So, your expression of that all along in our discussion today, you've been sort of bringing it back to, it's not about thinking, it's not about acting, it's all about being and connecting to the true knowledge that is not of the mind. And
Yes.
that changes the dynamics of what's going on.
Yes. Yeah. No. So thank you. Yeah.
Thank you for listening to the Talking Diaries podcast featuring Dr. Louis Koster. For more information, check out louiskoster.com/Talking Diaries and subscribe to the Talking Diaries YouTube channel. Also, check out louiskoster.com/quiz and take the free quiz to discover more about yourself.